In the heart of the Himalayas, where the air is thin and the world feels forgotten, a legend persists. It speaks of a scroll, the Lamentations of the Sky, said to hold the oldest story of humanity. For Dr. Kenji Tanaka, a linguist obsessed with ancient scripts, this wasn't just a legend. It was a calling. He led a small, frostbitten expedition to the remote monasteries bordering Nepal, chasing a whisper on the wind. The cold was a living thing, a predator that gnawed at their bones. For weeks they navigated treacherous icefalls and blinding blizzards, the vast, white emptiness of the mountains pressing in on them. One by one, his team turned back, defeated by the altitude and the crushing isolation. But Kenji pushed on, driven by a conviction that bordered on madness. He was close. He could feel it in the ancient hum of the stones beneath his feet. Finally, he found it. Not a monastery bustling with life, but a crumbling ruin, half swallowed by a glacier. It was a tomb, silent save for the howling wind that snaked through its broken walls. Inside, the air was heavy with the dust of centuries and something else, a profound spiritual dread. In the deepest chamber, illuminated by a single shaft of icy sunlight, he saw it. But it wasn't a scroll. It was a tapestry, massive and impossibly intricate, hanging like a frozen waterfall of history. As Kenji stepped closer, his breath caught in his throat. It was woven not from silk or wool, but from countless strands of human hair intertwined with slivers of bone. The images depicted weren't a creation story, but a cosmic nightmare. It showed a sprawling, abyssal entity, a being of impossible geometry that seemed to feed on the despair of the figures woven into its form. He had found the Lamentations, but they weren't a story of our origin. They were a warning. This was the Sky Weaver, a name he recognized from forbidden Tibetan texts, an extra-dimensional horror that consumes reality through despair. The tapestry wasn't just a depiction. It was a prison, a gateway. As his eyes traced the horrifying patterns, a whisper echoed in his mind, not in any language he knew, but in pure, undiluted sorrow. The stone floor beneath him seemed to shimmer, the walls rippling like disturbed water. He was trapped. The monastery was no longer just stone and ice. It was an extension of the tapestry's woven reality. The whispers grew louder, weaving his own fears and doubts into a paralyzing melody of hopelessness. He saw visions of his failures, of everyone he had ever lost, their faces contorted in agony. The very air vibrated with despair, and Kenji felt his own resolve starting to fray, to become another thread in the Sky Weaver's design. He had to fight it. Stumbling back, he forced himself to look at the tapestry not as an artist, but as a linguist. The patterns, the knots, the horrifying figures, they weren't random. They formed a language. Hidden within the chaotic weave of hair and bone were glyphs, a forbidden chant embedded in the very structure of the prison. It was a counterspell, a way to unravel the magic. But reading it was agony. Each glyph he deciphered flooded his mind with a fresh wave of hallucinatory terror. The room warped violently around him. The stone statues of bodhisattvas seemed to weep tears of blood. The wind outside shrieked like a tortured soul. The Sky Weaver was fighting back, its influence growing stronger with every moment he spent locked in its gaze. He felt a chilling tug, a physical pull towards the tapestry, as if it wanted to absorb him, to weave his very being into its fabric. He chanted the first verse, his voice hoarse and trembling. The sound was swallowed by the oppressive silence. It wasn't enough. He needed to amplify it, to fight this cosmic silence with a sound just as powerful. His eyes darted around the freezing shrine room, landing on a set of ancient bronze gongs, coated in frost. That was it, the monastery's own voice. He scrambled towards the main shrine as the world around him dissolved. The tapestry was no longer a flat object. It was a swirling vortex of starlight and misery, a gaping wound in reality. From its depths, a form began to emerge, a colossal, multi-limbed creature of impossible scale, its body a tapestry of dying stars and human suffering. The Sky Weaver was manifesting. Kenji slammed his fist against the largest gong. The resonant boom was a physical force, shaking the ice from the walls. The sound wave hit the tapestry, and for a second, the entity recoiled. Hope, a dangerous and fragile thing, flickered in his chest. He began to chant, his voice now strong and clear, striking the gongs in a rhythm dictated by the ancient verses. A battle of frequencies erupted in the small room. The deep, sacred chime of the gongs clashed with the silent, soul-crushing scream of the Sky Weaver. The air crackled with power. The tapestry thrashed, reality tearing at the seams. Kenji poured every ounce of his will, his knowledge, his very life force into the chant. He was no longer just a linguist. He was a warrior fighting a battle at the dawn of time. With a final desperate roar, he struck the last gong, chanting the final verse. The sound shattered the air. The tapestry screamed, a silent cosmic agony that vibrated in his very bones, and then it ripped itself apart. Light and shadow imploded. The Sky Weaver was dragged back into its own dimension, its prison collapsing with it. The monastery groaned, the ancient stones giving way. The ceiling caved in, and the world became a blizzard of snow and splintered rock. Kenji was thrown clear, tumbling out onto the mountainside. He lay there, gasping in the thin, freezing air, his body scarred, his mind forever changed. The monastery was gone, buried under an avalanche of its own making. All that remained of his discovery, of the impossible truth he had witnessed, was a single dark thread of woven hair lying on the snow at his feet. A final, unravelable warning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy stories that explore the boundaries of reality and ancient horror, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We have many more journeys into the unknown waiting for you.